Hi, it's Jonas Johnson with evolveyourbusiness.ca. I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about the learning process and how it is a key factor in changing someone's behavior. There are 5 key steps in the learning process. You want to get someone's attention, you want to present them with the information, allow them the time to process, ask questions, draw conclusions, and actually apply their learning to the appropriate situation. When you are presenting information, there's going to be a variety of different formats that you can use. But one of the things you want to try to do is use modeling. When you want someone to perform a task in a specific way, so it's a safe behavior, you want to get that person or the group of people into a safe, controlled environment where you can demonstrate the proper behavior, the proper technique. For example, if you're going to wear personal protective equipment, what is the proper way to wear it? Demonstrate that and allow people to see what is the proper way for them to do it. Then give them the opportunity to try to put on the PPE. Allow them to go through the experience of putting it on, understand what are the right ways to do it, what are some of the problems that they could run into when they're putting it on, so that they know that they are putting it on properly. Give them the opportunity to ask questions. And while you are watching them put on the PPE, you can see whether or not they're doing it properly. And that is your opportunity to provide them with feedback and ensure that they have a clear understanding of the proper way to do that. And again, this is in a safe, controlled environment, away from any hazards, so that someone has the opportunity to learn in a safe environment without being exposed to hazards, so that they can learn the proper way to use the PPE or whatever task that you're trying to help them to learn. So when you are communicating the message, first of all, you want to ensure that you have their attention. If they're not listening to you, or the environment is such that they can't hear you, it is not going to be an effective way for you to deliver your message. You have to make sure that they're focused on you, that they are not being distracted, and that everything else isn't going to have a negative impact on their ability to learn exactly the proper method that you're trying to deliver. We had talked about this in a previous video, talking about that when you're delivering the information, people will process the information in different formats. So what you want to do is you want to incorporate various formats so that someone can process the information regardless of their learning style. For example, are they visual? Do they need to see what's happening? Do they need graphs? Do they need some kind of visual reference to understand what's expected of them? Are they auditory? Do they need to hear it? Do they need to have it explained to them in key detail? And that is going to be the key factor in helping them learn. Or is it more of hands-on, the kinesthetic approach? So the ideal situation is to incorporate all of these in the information that you're presenting, because you're not always going to know whether someone's going to be visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. By bringing all those in, you are ensuring that you're presenting information in a manner that's going to have the best possibility of someone being able to process it. And when someone is processing the information and you're presenting the information, you need to ensure that they have an understanding of the message. And you can't always assume that just because you've said it one way, that everyone is going to understand what you're doing. Perhaps if you're very knowledgeable on what you're supposed to be doing, you might feel that you've done an adequate job of explaining all of the requirements, but someone else who is not that familiar with it isn't going to be able to understand it at the same level. So it's very important that you give the person time to reflect, ask questions. You really want to ensure that you're getting feedback from everyone that you are trying to present the information to, that they are actively asking questions so that you are aware that they are learning the information. If you have someone that's not asking questions, you can't assume that they are understanding everything. You want to challenge them and draw them out and ensure that they don't have any questions, because perhaps there's a hesitation and that they just don't want to have it known that they're not picking up on what you're saying or they don't understand. Asking questions is a great way for someone to learn the process themselves and thinking about it in terms of how they understand it needs to be done. So you want to have someone move through the entire process, and you want to have that individual draw their own conclusions and help them understand the task or the behavior that you want them to do from their perspective, so that they are drawing on their experience, they're drawing on the information that you're presenting, and they're pulling it all together, and they're going to be able to apply it when you're not there. A big part of that is allowing them to go through it, reviewing it with them, again, going through the modeling, ensuring that they're doing it properly, giving them the opportunity to ask questions, giving them feedback, so that you can ensure that they are doing the behavior or the task properly. So a key factor is allowing them the opportunity to apply it in a safe, controlled environment so that you can monitor and see that they are doing it properly before you send them out into an environment where there might be some risks, to minimize the hazards that they're going to be exposed to. Plus, applying it themselves is going to be a key factor for them to reinforce the training that you are giving to them. Another thing we need to keep in mind as part of the learning process is that people are going to be impacted by the feelings that they are currently having when they are trying to learn something new. If someone is in a heightened emotional state, it is going to have a negative impact on their ability to learn new information. So if someone is very angry, someone's very sad, there's a lot of emotional feelings going on, it is going to have a negative impact on their ability to process new information. You know, perhaps you've seen this yourself when you just start getting angry and your whole focus just starts narrowing and you get this whole tunnel approach to everything that's going on, and you become so focused on a very narrow field of view that you're not aware of all the other things that are going on. You're just angry and you're just focused on the things that are making you angry. You're not being open and aware to the information that's being presented to you. So as a trainer, you need to keep that in mind, that the ideal situation is someone who's not in a heightened emotional state, someone who is going to be very receptive to what you're doing in a neutral manner, and that they're not going to be reacting in a negative manner to you. So you can think about this from your own perspective. Why do you do what you do? And when you're thinking in terms of why do you do what you do, you can use that to help you deliver the information in the most effective way possible. How do you learn? What are some of the best ways that you learn? You can use that to help you deliver the message to other people. As long as you're not assuming that everyone is going to be learning exactly the same way that you do. You got to incorporate different learning styles and use the various methods so that you are presenting the information in a way that everyone can process it. So just to recap, there are some key factors for the learning process. You want to ensure that you got someone's attention. You're presenting the information in a variety of different formats to allow different learning styles. You give them time to process, ask questions, give feedback. They can draw their own conclusions, and they can apply the learning in a safe, controlled environment.